Look,
Watch
see,
party.
it showed both of it, Doctor. It showed everybody started.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Okay, let's see.
It's Friday.
It is Friday again. It just seemed like we just did this.
We did just do it.
Which is our best angle?
I like this one.
Okay, I have to.
We have like 4 different screens.
Watch party. Watch party.
So we're gonna wait a minute, let everybody come on. Tonight we're gonna be talking about best ways to, is it decrease toxic load?
Yes, decrease it.
Your toxic load. So we'll
And
talk about what a toxic load is and how to lower it. So that'll be good.
I get this question a lot. Okay.
So we should be getting started here in just a bit. How's everybody
let's see.
doing?
I have videos. I don't know why it's not going. Wait.
I feel like the world is a little crazy right now, so we're all probably need to go back and watch our Instagram from last week talking about stress. And
I know it was good. And we're going to talk more about stress at another time in a different way, more specific.
Yeah, I'm just talking about all of the events of the past few days.
I need to mute that.
Have been
stressful. So, let's see. So we're going to talk about toxic load.
Okay.
And then what is that? And so we talk about toxicity and detox a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people want to know this. How do I do a detox? How do a body detox? And that is a really big question, actually. It's not really an easy way. So we're going to talk about some simple ways because it can be overwhelming.
Okay.
And then we are going to, because I got a question this week actually from a friend of mine. He texted me and he was like, hey, do you use natural deodorant? And so that's one of the questions that we'll talk about, using natural deodorant, those types. Because we've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. As we're drinking, she's drinking Starbucks coffee.
I am. So
I'm drinking homemade coffee.
Yeah.
It's okay though. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
It's Friday. We're talking about decreasing, not eliminating, because there's no way to eliminate toxins 100%.
Okay.
So when we're talking about toxic load, we are mainly talking about our body right now. So physical. We're not talking about toxic people. We're not talking about that type of thing right now.
Okay.
So the things that we do is what I typically talk about is what we put in and on our body.
Okay. So in meaning like foods, organic stuff.
Yes.
What we're eating.
What we're eating and drinking.
Okay.
Yes.
And then on us would be
makeup.
Lotion.
Yes.
What about household
Yes.
cleaners?
Household cleaners.
Okay, but that's kind of around us. That's more
Detergent.
like environmental though too, right?
Yes.
Are we going to touch on that too?
Yes.
Okay.
Look at my notes. I got my notes. So we're going to talk about environment, and then we're going to talk about, because all of these, now I want people as we're talking about these to realize that I'm going to give you a whole list of things to do or that we can change. You cannot change all of them at once. It will get overwhelming. It'll be a big burden. Okay. But if we change a little bit at a time or one thing at a time, it becomes very, very manageable. And over time, we get a lot of that. We can't see you in that.
Hi, Celeste. Oh, well, that's too bad.
Okay, I know.
I'll just scoot over. You can see me on this one.
Yes, we
the
can
lighting on this one is so much better.
But I think this lighting we see. I wonder how they see the
I
lighting.
don't know. Oh, it's okay.
So the main thing, the easy things people think about is food and drink. So what are some things that we can do that, like getting organic, right?
Okay.
Now, it's hard to do organic 100% of the time, but we can do organic as much as we can. We talked about this last week about the Dirty Dozen. So the Environmental Working Group, EWG.org.
What is it? I'm tired. EWG, Environmental Working Group.
.org
is great.
And they have an app, too, that you can download.
Right.
For the
and
phone.
so that's where you can get the Clean 15.
Yes.
And the Dirty Dozen.
Yes.
So those are going to be things that are, and it changes all the time. So, like I think celery is on there a lot. Strawberries is on there a lot.
Most of the berries. Apples are almost always one of the top.
Right. And so,
grapes.
But I was surprised to hear that, kale was on there, and that I haven't seen that on there. So as far as like having a lot of pesticides on it, recently kale had been added to the Dirty Dozen.
Yes.
So
and it changes a little bit every season, every year.
So it's good to get on there and look and kind of see, because those are the things that you want to avoid buying or get a substitute, right? So if you didn't want to do kale, you could do like a Swiss chard or a rainbow chard or something like that, a different vegetable.
But that's if they're not organic. And so what I do is I almost always buy, hey Phyllis, I'm trying to look at always buy organic on the Dirty Dozen. And then the rest, I try to buy organic all of the time, but if either it's not available or sometimes it's really expensive. So most of the time, strawberries and berries can be really expensive organic versus non-organic. But for me, because they're almost always on the Dirty Dozen, I make it a priority to buy those and just eat them a little bit less.
I think it also, to me, when you're making those decisions, you know, as far as your priorities and things like that, these are things that we're putting in our bodies, right?
Absolutely.
And so I work a lot with pregnant and breastfeeding women. So for some reason, we have this thing in our society where it's like, oh, you're pregnant, you can eat whatever you want to eat. And really, it's the complete opposite, because you're growing a person. So this is really, you want to be the cleanest, you know, during this time as you're growing this body, and then as you're nourishing this other body, you want to put the best things in yourself. So my suggestion is to budget around it so that you can get all of these things, you know, these good healthy nutrients in your body. And a lot of times your organic products are going to be more nutrient dense as well. So we want to just stress. I just want to stress that if you can find out what the Clean 15 are, what the Dirty Dozen are, avoid the Dirty Dozen ones. Try to get those organic so that you can get them in you. Just because most of those things that are on there, you know, are your good fruits and vegetables and things like that.
And then we have to choose where, and it's not always an easy decision, but we do need to choose where we put it's an investment in money. It is our health. And sometimes we become disconnected from our food and what we put in and what it can do. Because one of the questions I get, and we'll address it a little bit, is like, you know, we're decreasing toxic load. Like on the deodorant question I got was, does it cause cancer? Because we hear these bits and pieces of this is going to cause cancer, and we can't definitively say this will cause cancer and this will cause cancer and this will cause cancer. But what we can say is that cancer can be connected to our body's inability to get rid of toxins.
Right.
And some of that is how much toxins are we putting on our bodies, and because the toxins cause oxidative damage.
Right.
And then when we have oxidative damage, then those cells end up not functioning the way they're supposed to be functioning and can grow into cancer.
Yeah, of course. So, and then even with that, when you're talking about like Monsanto and the glyphosate, I don't know how to say the word exactly, so let's type it in there. Glyphosate. There it is. I got it. I pulled it right out of my brain. But when you're talking about things like the Roundups and things being sprayed on stuff, we have shown, or they have shown, like legally, where these things are causing cancer. So you really want to make that investment. And so I guess what my thing that I would like to stress to everybody is, you are investing in your health, you're investing in your body. The more we can take care of ourselves on the front end, the less money that you're going to be spending on the back end. Because a bill from heart disease, a bill from cancer, and when I'm talking about bills, I mean medical bills, you know, hospital bills, supplement bills, all of these different types of things, trying to take care of now a sick body when we can invest in that body ahead of time. It's an investment.
Yes, it is an investment, and we have to start, and we can start one thing at a time.
Right.
So again, we pick some of those things we might be eating all of the time, that we might be doing, and we say, okay, I can do this as something we can choose to do to change, right? So food and then drink. So organic is a big one, and then non-processed foods. Non-GMO is something else, but all of those are going to be good with decreasing toxic load.
Yes.
I think that this page. So you want to start Total Family Wellness again?
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
That died. Okay.
Yes.
Keep going.
And so then the next thing that I ask is like personal care. So personal care is going to be things we put on our body. And this is probably the longest list of things, especially for us women. So we talk about our hair care, our skin care, what we put in our mouth, so toothpaste. Even toothbrushes, sometimes, you know, getting certain toothbrushes can decrease our toxic load.
Right.
We also talk about, did I say makeup already? Hand soap, what we vacuum with, if we put anything on the ground, our detergent. And not only are we decreasing toxic load when we're changing some of these things for us, the way some of these things are made and manufactured are also going to help with environmental toxicity, which inherently helps with our toxicity.
Okay.
Right? And then like hair color, nails, getting our nails done.
Yeah.
I know I like getting my nails done too. So here's what I say to that. We cannot be 100% perfect 100% of the time.
Right.
I mean, we can be most of the time. Right.
Not perfect people.
Not
we
perfect people.
with your toxic love.
But you really can't, because we can't get away from it.
Right, and we live in a very toxic environment, right?
We do.
And there's things that we can't control. Like the last time we were talking about, all the cell phone towers and the new 5G stuff that we've got, and everybody has Wi-Fi and, there's no landlines anymore. Everybody's got to have a cell phone. And so you're walking around with your cell phone in your pocket, you know what I mean? Or up against your breast if you have it here, or, our ovaries are down here, so all of these different things, affect us, right?
They do. They affect us.
I remember
and it's cumulative.
when the Bluetooth phone sets first started coming out, and everybody was like super like, oh, you shouldn't have all those like waves by your ears, and then it's just kind of like it just became a thing.
And then and so that some of it makes it change, but some of it can be overwhelming as well. Right. And so that's where we say, where can we? So like for me, to be honest, is I will do, and I'm going to talk about how we can get our bodies to detox a little bit better, so that the toxic load there can. We can help our bodies manage the toxins that are coming at us as well.
Yeah.
But, if I want to get my nails done, I need to also make sure that some of the other things that I'm doing are going to be, lesser. So if I am taking care of toxicity here, and here, I may have a little bit room or margin or flexibility to do something I like to do that's toxic. Now, is it best to not do any of them? Absolutely.
Right.
And when we'll talk about next week too about some things with trying to get pregnant and all of those things, it even becomes more of an issue for some of us to make sure we do that. So I'm going to kind of touch a little bit on. So we'll talk about skincare. So then, how do we? And let's go overview, and then we'll come back and talk about some of the things that we can do.
Having technical difficulties with two of these phones because we are trying to Instagram Live and Facebook Live from several different places.
You might be able to set this up and then set it on there.
What? Oh, this one? Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll try that. Okay, keep going.
But one of the questions I had was deodorant, and this has been a bigger thing because if you go to Target, I haven't been to Walmart lately, but I usually shop at Target, is one of the places I shop, and they have lots of different brands of natural deodorant. So I want to kind of talk about that because I had a good question about it this week earlier.
So what's your favorite?
My favorite is a brand called Kapari, so I have to order it online. All of them are pretty good, but it depends. So the question was, which is a great question, is like, so if I use natural deodorant, am I still going to stink? Well, and it depends.
I asked that question.
And you did ask me that
I did.
too.
I've asked
Have you
it before.
switched yet?
No. I don't like to sweat.
So that's the other thing. Is the natural deodorants don't have the antiperspirant portion. And so I will tell you from my experience, I used to sweat badly. But I decided to not.
So how'd you deal with that? Because I sweat a lot. Like I get eyebrow sweat, and my husband always, this is my lip, it's not my eyebrows. But I get I sweat like here, I sweat everywhere. Here. And like the first place, I always get these little beads of sweat.
But you're not putting deodorant there.
I'm not, but So
one thing we have to do is to change our perspective a little bit.
Okay.
Meaning, sweat is not bad. Sweat is really good for you.
It's not, but I don't like the way it looks like under my shirt. The shirt sweat.
Yes. So there are other things you can do, but what I found really interesting is that my underarms regulated some after I detoxed from the antiperspirants, and then got used to my body being able to manage my temperature a little bit.
So would it be better than to detox from deodorant in the summer where you can wear tank tops?
Yes and no. So that's the other question. It depends. Because, and everybody's body odor is different. And everybody is, let's see, Kate's saying hi. Hi, Kate. And so everybody's body is different. So some of these things, it's like it depends. I don't remember when I've been wearing natural deodorant for probably 4 or 5 years, if not longer now.
Hey, Agape.
But if you tend to have...
Can you do that when we're done? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Fine. So
okay,
if you tend to have higher body odor or different body odor, and if you tend to sweat a lot, it may be better or easier to wait till the fall. Or your perspective is good. If I do it in the summer, it's not as bad because everybody's sweating.
Right. I'm already, and there's that.
Yes. And you may have to try a couple of different deodorants.
1 second. Gus, let me switch you. Give me that iPad, and I'll go live from there because you already set that up to the Wi-Fi, right?
Yes.
Okay. Switch me, please. You can have the phone.
But we may already be, but you might have to try a couple of the natural deodorants too, to see if they work for you. So if one doesn't work, then try another one. But that's something easy because we're going to use deodorant anyway. We're not adding extra anything. The other thing that I like to do is what I actually put on my skin because it absorbs my skin.
Yes.
And the good thing about a lot of the natural products we put, it doesn't have parabens, methylparabens. Sunscreen is another one that's coming up. That if we put some of these on our skins, it actually can change our cells and be more increased risk for skin cancer.
Okay.
And because I'm not going to tell somebody not to wear sunscreen, but at the same time, we need to wear good sunscreen.
Okay.
Right. Makeup is one of the last things I do just because makeup is not, I don't wear a whole lot of makeup.
Right.
And so but I slowly change some of that as well. Hand soap, so things I put in my hair, shampoo. So these things I would say change one at a time. You don't have to change them all. See what you like. It may have to change. Sometimes it's trial and error, which can be a little frustrating sometimes.
Okay.
So then we talked about the environment, and so one of the things to talk about a lot is pesticide use. And so, purchasing things that don't have pesticides. The other thing is also using pesticides in our own lawns, touching them. And did you know that some of these toxins are also what they call endocrine disruptors?
Okay.
So they
what
can
does
cause.
Endocrine mean?
Well, it's like our endocrine system. So
okay.
It's to simplify it. A lot of times we look at this and how our hormones are functioning.
Right.
And I have a charger over there too. If we need it.
Perfect.
You can take it out of that one.
All right.
And
can you tell everybody, because a lot of people might not know what the endocrine system does? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Oh my goodness, you're gonna make me teach about the endocrine system.
Just a brief overview.
So it is responsible. It is a communication between the cells, pretty much, and so it's a way that our bodies produce different types of products, hormones, substances, and then it has target cells. And so sometimes the target is big, sometimes the target is small. I know I'm being very general right now.
That's good. General is good.
And so one of the endocrine systems that we have is like for females is all the ones that produces our sex hormones. Mm-hmm. But one of the interesting things what I want to talk to you about a little bit too, but just some of the things I'm listening to, for instance, progesterone, estrogen, all of that's in that. Right. And if we have high stress, and stress can be physical or emotional. So the adrenal fatigue we were talking about, toxins are going to play a role in that. Our progesterone, if we need higher cortisol from emotional stress, actually gets degraded to produce the cortisol because cortisol comes from progesterone. That's why sometimes our progesterone levels are low as we get older and as we're stressed out.
Oh.
It's very interesting.
Yes, progesterone has been a topic of late.
Yes, it has.
With menopause and perimenopause and babies and breastfeeding while trying to get pregnant and all of these things, because all of those things affect your progesterone levels, right?
All of them. And most of us, especially, we won't say our exact age, but we're not.
I will. 45. Thank you. I'm proud of it. It's a little bit of gray here, so that's okay.
I'll just say I'm in my 40s.
She is. She's cute. Are you younger than me?
Yes.
Yes, she's younger than me.
By 2 years.
Well,
a year and a half.
Everybody knows how to count. So that means you just told them what it was.
Okay.
Oh, my
I have a pact with one of my friends that we're just going to tell everybody we're 37.
Say hi, baby.
Hi.
Okay. Say bye, baby.
But one of those things is, and so with endocrine system, endocrine disruptor is something that Jade, oh my goodness, Jade. So is something that would.
Hey, we're working. Y'all gotta go.
Yeah, we are actually.
Y'all gotta go. Like for real.
So it is.
I love you. Goodbye.
So it is something that that can cause disruptions in how our hormones are being produced, and being in perimenopause early, going through menopause early, not being able to get pregnant, all of those things. And for men, handling pesticides actually is shown to reduce their testosterone levels.
Really?
And so there's something, women, we go through, this is a side note, we go through menopause as we get older. Well, men go through something, they tell you, they'll talk about us. No, they go through something called andropause. Oh. And so they have it where their testosterone levels start decreasing and they lose muscle tone. You can see it in some men as it can be quick. But one of the things that we can help with that too is maintaining that. So we don't want them outside, handling pesticides, because especially if they're trying to get someone pregnant, if they're trying to get their wife pregnant, that can affect that as well as other things. Testosterone is not just for that, but so that's something. So pesticides is huge. Our laundry detergent, because it's what's on our skin. Okay. And then what else did I put on here? Oh, what we cook in, and plastic. Oh, yes. No. So decreasing plastic. So what I like to do is I just go ahead and spend the money and buy something that will hold water, and that's what I use. And there's so many places now that support that. Okay. Not using plastic straws, trying not to use anything plastic at all. Right. Or putting it in the microwave, warming up your, because I know those, like the Ziploc containers and things are really, really convenient. Yes. But then if you're storing your food in there and then you take it and you put it in the microwave, you're leaching that. And it's just like putting a pack of water in your car in the summer. It's going to leach all that plastic into the water, and so you're drinking it. Oh, like bottled water. Bottled water. Yes, I heard that before. Yeah. So you don't want to leave bottled water in the hot. I actually... Okay. And so this is what I say too, is you try not to drink bottled water at all, because you don't know before you got it in your car how long it's been sitting outside somewhere else waiting to be shipped. All of those. So, minimizing that as much as possible. Now, if you're dying of dehydration, you're somewhere, drink a bottle of water if you don't have. Right. But trying to prevent that and having your own. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good idea. Or even because I know that we keep, when all of this was going on and people weren't wanting to go or couldn't go, where we were afraid that we weren't going to be able to go to the grocery store and things like that. So people were buying up, of course, water, toilet paper, and those different types of things. And I know that there was a lot of water bought. So it's just sitting, in the garage because no one lost water. But then, of course, kind of like you were saying, what is the lesser? You know what I mean? If you have no water, no access to good, clean water, and you need to drink water, emergency water, and don't let yourself be dehydrated, or if it's hot, just drink it. But we want to set a precedent of not consuming that plastic, because it does so much to hurt our bodies. And then and cancer is something else that's been linked to that too. Yeah, because even with my herbs and stuff, I make sure that I keep those in glass jars. So anytime that you're keeping food, your beans, your rice, your herbs, or anything like that, to store them in a glass container is definitely going to be the safest route. Yes, and I have over time just changed some of that. Yeah. It is expensive and a lot of managing to try to do everything. You can do it. Yeah. But a lot of times, most of us, budget-wise, it's a little harder to do. I tend to watch the sales. I had no idea, because I never was really a big Hobby Lobby shopper, because I'm not crafty. But a friend of mine told me that the glass stuff, all the glass containers, go on sale every other week. Every other week. Yeah, and so for 50% off. Yeah, for 50%. I was like, what? And so I started buying things. I would watch the sales, and I would go in. So those are, just practical things that you can do and get one or two items at a time as you are transitioning over into doing, these things. Because trying to wipe plastic out of your house all at once definitely is, And then if you use something, going to be a financial undertaking. Financial, and then convenience. We want things to be convenient. Glass is heavier, but I will tell you, most of the time, I will, if I take lunch, I'll put it in glass. It's just something that I decide to deal with there, and if it breaks, it breaks. But they have really good options now. I like going to Home Goods. They have it really cheap there, and lots of glass. That's a good idea too. I've never shopped at Home Goods. Oh, just wait. Because I've been purposely staying out of that place. Okay. Well, it's been closed, but Well, yeah, there's that. Yes. So what's next on our list? So these are some of the things we can do. And if you guys have a question about something specific, you can always ask us. You can direct message us. We'll be happy to talk. Or if there's a topic you want to talk about, ask. We can address it.
Yes.
But so the other thing is, so how do we get our bodies to manage this a little bit better? Because we can't decrease toxins 100%. Our bodies are naturally made to detox. Our liver is a great detoxifier.
Right.
So what do we do to support that and not let it get congested and not let it work well? And so definitely some of the things we talked about, it's the same. I'm going to preach this all the time. Getting your vitamins, your macronutrients, your micronutrients. We have to take care of ourselves. Even with what COVID, all of this stuff is going on.
Yeah.
All of these things, if our immune system and our vitamins and our cells are functioning optimally, then we can be healthier and safer overall. We have a better chance of thriving.
Okay. Well, period. I mean, even with this, because we want to have healthy immune systems, right?
Yes.
Because even though the world is reopening, the virus isn't going anywhere,
it's
right?
staying.
It's going to be here just like the flu and everything else.
And if it's not COVID, there's always other viruses and things that we can be exposed to.
And that's why we have an immune system. And we want a good, healthy, functioning immune system to be able to be out in the world.
Yeah, so decreasing our toxicity coming in as best as we can, and then getting our bodies to a place where it can handle it much better.
Watch your mouth, girl.
So some of the things, supporting our mitochondrial function is huge.
Okay, how do you do that?
So making sure we have our nutrition, vitamins and minerals. One of the things I really, really like, and good fats, probiotics, vitamin D.
Okay.
These are all things I'm going to preach to you all of the time.
So what things would you call healthy fats? Like olive oil is a good healthy fat,
olive
right?
oil,
As far as
avocado,
cooking.
coconut,
Okay.
fish, but make sure your fish is from deep water cold fish that's not farm raised, toxic, or a good brand fish oil.
Right. So you want the smaller fish, isn't that right?
Yes.
Yes, not
Salmon
the big
and mackerel.
predators. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I take fish oil supplement because I'm not a big fish eater. You can get omega-3s other ways too, good fats. So I'm not going to advocate eating a whole lot of beef, but grass-fed beef is going to be grass-fed dairy. Again, not advocating eating a lot of dairy, if any, either.
Right.
But those are some ways you can get it. But
I feel like if you're going to eat it,
eat the best.
Eat the best, because we all know that, it's overall not good for you. No. So if you can get an organic dairy
and grass
fed, then if you just gotta have it, then that would be the best way to have it, and have it minimally.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, and have it minimally. And that's going to vary from person to person, but I wouldn't advocate someone eating a whole lot of dairy.
Right. Why not?
That's a whole nother topic.
Well, okay.
But it's just that it's not, we don't really need it.
Right. I just was talking about some of the things that it could cause, like, increased inflammation, those types of things.
So a lot of times people think it's lactose intolerance, and that's not the primary reason why we have an issue with it.
Yes.
And then the other, what I really love is N-acetylcysteine, which is a precursor to something called glutathione. And so a lot of us make our own glutathione if our cells are healthy.
Is N-acetylcysteine the same as NAC?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've heard of that.
Yes, and NAC is much less expensive.
Right.
But it needs to be used in conjunction with healthy. So some of us need like glutathione. And the best way to get glutathione, you can do a capsule. There's a brand I use that has a great capsule that has done some, not big studies, but kind of like clinical studies in a clinic. Okay. So a clinical by itself study.
I got it.
And they were able to maintain the amount of glutathione levels that they were. Glutathione fights against cancer. It's a what I call a super antioxidant. So we talk about vitamin C as an antioxidant. We talk about vitamin A as an antioxidant. So these are things that will combat oxidative damage. And so that's what we're doing when we're putting toxins, is we're causing oxidative damage. So we need something to combat that.
Okay.
And so N-acetylcysteine is great. As we get older, or our systems are stressed physically, mentally, all of those things, it's not going to produce glutathione as well.
Okay.
And so we need to maybe add that back in. But N-acetylcysteine is a great way. What do you use N-acetylcysteine for? Have we talked about this? Like,
I use it with Agape, with her respiratory.
Yes.
For, like, any types of breathing, respiratory health, asthma, those types of things.
It helps. So it helps. It's a part of my regimen. So, if you guys knew how many supplements I took a day, and I eat pretty decently most of the time.
Yeah.
But I take probably 20 supplements a day to make sure that is. But I had come from there was a time, a couple of years ago, and even before, I was so stressed, and we did a lot of functional testing with gut health. We did functional testing with oxidative damage and all of this stuff, and I found that I was really, really depleted on glutathione, and some of my levels of this marker that comes up in cancer was extremely high.
Oh, wow.
And so it made me a little nervous. So
when you're talking about things like that, because I've had a lot of ladies, ask me about different nutrient supplements and things like that. Instead of kind of reaching out and taking all of the things, do you feel like it's better to get the testing done so you know where you're deficient at so you can target things better?
Both. So I think if you're not doing anything, it's a great idea to start on something. And Catherine asked, we post our recommendations. So yeah, I can give you my basic, what I think everybody should be on basic for sure.
Okay.
I will, what was your question?
I don't remember. Anybody remember my question? Because I don't. It's been a long day.
It has been a long day. It's been a long week.
It has. It's been a lot.
It's been great though, but we were talking about, oh my goodness.
Oh, I asked about doing testing.
Oh, yes.
Versus just, going to buy all of the things. And yes, everybody needs to be on what you may be going here. A good multivitamin, probably a good probiotic, a good omega, like those basic things.
Because most of us are deficient. And a multivitamin is one, but I don't even put the multivitamin in the basic. It should be there, but if I did basic, there's going to be about 8 different things. And so
then you also want a quality one, right? Because when you buy the cheaper ones, if your body isn't able to readily absorb those things, then you're really wasting your money.
And that's the other thing. So with testing, so if it's not absorbing because it's not quality, that's one thing. We got to look at gut health, and that's a whole other thing. It's like, this is so much stuff.
That's why we're doing it every week. We'll talk about gut health soon.
But gut health, so if we're not absorbing, then that's another thing. So there's a great test that checks micronutrient levels.
Okay.
I mean, I can have access to so many. There's so much testing out there that conventional medical does not typically do.
Okay.
There's some great testing. So if somebody went
and got their CBC and a chem panel, that's not going to be able to tell them.
A CBC and a chem panel is basic. We always need to get one of those because it's going to tell us actually a lot of information. So CBC is checking like how red blood cells, white blood cells. And then we can get a differential with that. So which ones are high, low, normal. That can tell us a whole lot, especially if they're abnormal.
Okay.
And then a chem panel can tell us a lot. I like to do the biggest one so it can look at kidney function, liver function, protein metabolism. There's so many things. So it's imperative to do those.
Right. I guess the reason I'm asking because I feel like when I have some ladies that are getting tested for thyroid stuff, they'll say, oh, well, everything is fine, but then it's really not.
No, and that's another thing we can talk about, too. We can just have a talk on testing.
Okay.
Because in the testing, I mean, there's like, in my world, with doing functional nutrition, functional medicine, integrative medicine, there's our basic testing. And it is way more advanced than going to a traditional medical doctor and doing basic testing.
Okay.
And so when somebody tells me, I just don't believe it. Oh, it's fine. Well, I don't know that. I need to look at what numbers they're looking at. And a lot of times, and I will always back it up with why I think or not, an explanation. But a lot of times the relaying of information from what people think is okay and not okay is not always congruent.
Right.
So that's something that I would like to. But there's so much testing going on. So we can do micronutrient testing that checks at the cellular level what your nutrition is. It is one of my favorite types of testing.
Okay.
And it gives us some insights. So you can do it before you're taking supplements to see if what we really need and what we're getting through our food or not getting through our food. And then it can also tell us later on if what we're taking is actually working or getting. And I will say this, so we did this testing a lot. Yes, insurance sometimes covers some of the testing. It just depends. And so whenever we were checking, so I'll give you vitamin D, for example. So there's a vitamin D that I'm very, very picky about. And there's several companies that have great vitamin D supplements. But I would have a patient that telling me they're taking 10,000 IUs of vitamin D, which should be sufficient for most patients to obtain vitamin D levels between 70 and 100. They'll tell you medically that it should be at least 30. 30 is not going to be optimal. Optimal 70 to 100. And then that can vary just a little bit. And they weren't even getting those levels by taking. And now vitamin D is fat soluble. So it shouldn't be something that was not getting absorbed through the gut in the same way, unless they have an issue with fat metabolism. But that's not typically why this should be absorbed. It's because the quality isn't good. And then we'd switch them to a reputable brand, and their vitamin D levels would be great.
So then also with women like myself with darker skin, right? Then we're talking about, needing extra.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Black women tend to need more vitamin D. Is
the
that
more
correct?
melanin that you have in your skin, the less sun rays you'll absorb, and so you're not making the vitamin D on your own. And then women, we tend to have less vitamin D levels than men. Typically, we don't metabolize the same way. And another thing that's really interesting is that we talked about this, or maybe I talked about that African American women, at least in this country, have higher rates of preterm labor, which is associated with low vitamin D levels. So it's all together.
Okay.
And so that is something that.
Scoot this way because you're not in that screen.
I'm not in this screen.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
So those are all things, and we might just do a basic one, vitamins, and like we'll talk about testing. And like I think Sarah's saying thyroid levels are all, and that's where everybody's paradigm for what is normal and not normal for thyroid, for hormones is and then what are they testing? Are they testing the blood? Are they testing saliva? Are they testing urine? Are they doing capillary blood? Are they doing venous blood? There's so many different things that we do.
So what's your favorite way to test for thyroid function? You
can do just a venipuncture, but you're looking at, I'll just say real quick, you want to do TSH, free T3, free T4. I also like to look at reverse T3, how well are we converting, and then we can look at some other things too.
Yes, and so I just wanted you to say that because most those things don't happen.
No, usually it just check TSH and maybe T4, and it's not even free T4.
Yes. Yep. So when you're talking about those things, because I know a lot of times with breastfeeding and what we're dealing with my mamas, a lot of times if we don't have the reverse T3 and the free, what is it?
Free T3.
The free T3. Yeah. All those things that she said, we need those things to find out exactly what's going on. So I know a lot of times I will recommend that my mamas, get blood work done, and those are the things that we're looking for.
Yes. And that's what we say overall, like when we're talking about these things that we're talking about, when I look at someone, I'm putting together a big picture of what's going on and where we focus, because one system will affect another system, and where do we start? We can't start everywhere all the time. And so when you have these moms coming in, either trying to get pregnant or trying, all the way through to after pregnant or after the birth, it is very important because those moms need to be super healthy so the baby can be healthy and so they can enjoy their babies and all of the way up. But looking at the big picture, and where do we start? Right.
And then where are we coming from? So those are other things that we are also going to touch on, because, your health as a young lady, from when you're starting your period until when you don't have a period anymore, all of it is important. But we really want to know, and when I'm having, I'm talking to my moms about breastfeeding challenges, a lot of the questions that I ask have to do with, their periods. Are you having, did you have heavy periods? Did you have painful periods? All of these different types of things, because it speaks to your reproductive health, and breastfeeding is a part of your reproductive health.
And this is what's interesting. We have testing for all of that. We have testing that can help with all of that. So we're not doing a shot in the dark. Oh, your estrogen's low. No, it's not. I don't argue with other people's doctors, but I get into a disagreement with some of the things that are going on, because we're looking at symptoms and so we're correlating all of that. But even if we're saying this only is pertaining to me because I'm trying to get pregnant, or I'm trying to maintain to be healthy when I'm 30, 40 years old. And as you know, as I know, as we're getting older is getting younger, right?
Right.
Like I remember being 19 and thought 25 was old.
Right.
And oh my gosh, no, we're not old.
No,
we're
not old.
I'm telling you, I have patients that are in their 80s and 90s that are thriving.
Yes.
Because they're paying attention to this. But if we're taking care of ourselves now, we reduce our risk for breast cancer, reducing our risk for all of these other things going forward, that it's not always, never too late, but the ability for the body to recuperate and heal and be better at that point could decrease.
Right.
So all of these things are important for our whole entire lifespan.
Okay.
Yes.
So we were talking about, we kind of went on a side note, but it's all relative. We were talking about, I think Catherine had asked about the multivitamins.
Yes.
And kind of the basic things.
Yes.
What would your
recommendations?
Your core basics.
So my core basics, and kind of in this order, it depends on the person. But if I'm kind of just blindsiding it, saying, here is going to be omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay.
So EPA, DHA, not ALA, which is alpha linoleic acid. So these are going to be EPA, DHA fatty acids. And we can get into more, but that's the basic. Then a vitamin D. Hey, Jane.
Hey, Xavier, Cadence, Agape, everybody.
So vitamin D is another one. Vitamin D is another one. The 5,000 is I use a day is minimal. And
for what? Which one?
Vitamin D.
Okay.
And then a probiotic.
Okay.
And what else did I say?
Probiotic is lots
good
of
bacteria.
Right, but lots of strains.
It depends.
Well,
so I liked my favorite one, just to give kind of as a blanket, has a good number of. I think this one has 3 to 5 different strains, and then it has a strain of yeast called Saccharomyces boulardii, which helps with yeast and balances that out.
Okay.
Hey, Jade.
Hey, y'all gotta go. We're almost done.
So,
go outside or go in the back room.
And then that's 3. What else do I do?
Omegas, multi, probiotics.
I didn't say multi, because multi I say, but multivitamin mineral is in there a lot of times. But usually the D, the probiotic, and the omegas. Those are the top 3. And then I also talk about definitely multivitamins and minerals, but I look at somebody's diet. But those, yes, a good multivitamin mineral, and then the 3 I just mentioned, vitamin D, probiotic, and omegas. Those are hands down. If you're not eating, which most of us don't eat things that have that.
Okay.
And then we can go from there.
Okay.
Yep.
What else did you have on your list before we let everybody go? Because our children are getting restless.
I think that's pretty much it, unless you have questions.
Okay.
About anything else, but just starting there.
Okay.
Like right now, I think 90% of my makeup, 100% of my skincare, personal care, soaps, hair care is all organic now.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes.
I still
and your
get
cleaning
my hair.
products.
My cleaning products are probably 80% there.
Okay.
I still highlight my hair. We won't talk about what
I don't
see
all of this gray hair. I own my gray, but that's okay. Everybody is different. Yes. She dyes her hair, and I occasionally drink Starbucks. Occasionally.
And that's where we can have that room for flexibility.
Right.
The healthier we are, the more flexible, and in the sense of health, flexible that our cells and our body is, the more flexible we can do for something.
Right. And then also I think we're always striving to get healthier, and it's one step at a time. I'm definitely a lot healthier now than I was before, and I also am very choosy about what I give my children also. So that's a big deal for me too. When I am pregnant, I am the healthiest. When I'm breastfeeding, I'm also very, probably pretty good too. Not as much as when I'm pregnant. But I would say, what I'm putting into my little people is really, really important because they are growing. They are growing their brains. They're growing their bodies.
Yes. And doing.
So, learning these things so that the generations behind us are better than we are, right? That's what we want to be as parents. And, of course, we want to be healthy ourselves. But I think that it's really important to really watch what we are feeding, our little ones.
And that will filter in how we're making these choices personally for our families. We'll start feeding into the next step in environment because we need to take care of our planet and our environment as well. We are not doing a great job globally with this, but in some ways we are better. We're more aware of it. So that's something to think about. But I think internalizing it, taking it first, saying we be healthy, then we can start extending that out.
Okay. Well, this has been our second night, and we will be with you guys next Friday around the same time, 7:30-ish. Seems to be a good time. If you guys have any topics that you guys want us to talk about, let us know. I think next week we'll probably be focusing more on just women's health overall. When you're young, pregnant, getting ready to get pregnant, breastfeeding, and those types of things, things we want to see. And we'll be talking a little bit more about, our bodies and things like that. So we'll probably go live from Innovations page next week instead of going live from Total Family Wellness.
But we'll hook them all together some way.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll do
something.
Whatever. Live. I don't know what it's called. I was gonna say a face share, but that's not what it is. So it's it doesn't matter. A watch party. That's what it is.
A watch party. And then we're gonna get into some fun topics too. I've been learning a lot about women's hormones and oxytocin. We won't.
All that. Oxytocin is
lovely.
The best hormone ever. Yeah. It's my faves. It's one of my faves. Okay, y'all. You guys have a blessed weekend. Yes. It was good talking to everybody. We love you all. Thank you for checking us out. Please share with your friends, do watch parties and all of the things, and we will see you all next week.
See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.